Decade of the Dead emerges as a compelling entry within the zombie apocalypse genre, blending visceral action with layered storytelling. Its release in 2023 positions it amidst a cultural landscape increasingly preoccupied with societal collapse, resilience, and the human condition in extremis. The film's nuanced approach to the undead trope elevates it beyond mere spectacle, inviting viewers to reflect on contemporary anxieties and moral dilemmas. Narrative structure and storytelling technique. The film employs a nonlinear narrative, interweaving flashbacks with present-day chaos. This structure serves to deepen character development and contextualize motivations, revealing how past trauma influences current decisions. The timeline shifts highlight the gradual unraveling of society and the character's psychological states, creating a layered tension that sustains engagement. The screenplay's emphasis on personal stories amidst global catastrophe underscores a core theme. Survival is as much about internal resilience as external threats. The narrative's focus on individual arcs within a collective crisis emphasizes the diversity of human responses: hope, despair, sacrifice, and greed. Character analysis and motivations. Protagonist, e.g., Dr. Lena Hard. Driven by a tragic loss early in the outbreak, Lena embodies a quest for redemption. Her scientific background fuels a desire not just to survive, but to find a cure, positioning her as a symbol of hope and rationality amid chaos. Her internal conflict, balancing moral duty against personal survival, adds depth, illustrating how ethical boundaries shift in crisis. Antagonist, e.g., Marcus. The survivor leader Marcus's authoritarian stance stems from his past experiences of loss and betrayal, fostering a worldview where trust is dangerous. His pragmatic, sometimes ruthless choices challenge viewers' sympathies, prompting questions about morality in survival scenarios. His arc questions whether ends justify means when human morality is compromised. Supporting characters. Each secondary character reflects different facets of humanity: the idealist who clings to hope, the cynic who embraces nihilism, and the caregiver risking everything for loved ones. Their interactions reveal societal fractures and the importance of community resilience. Themes and symbolism. Decay and renewal. The decaying world mirrors internal decay, loss of morality, hope, and societal order. Yet, moments of compassion and sacrifice act as symbols of potential rebirth, suggesting that from destruction, new life can emerge. The virus as a metaphor. Beyond its literal function, the zombie outbreak symbolizes societal maladies, climate change, political unrest, and misinformation. The relentless spread reflects how these issues infect and destabilize communities, mirroring real-world challenges. Hope and despair. The film oscillates between bleakness and optimism. Characters' perseverance embodies human resilience, emphasizing that even in despair, small acts of kindness can catalyze change. Cultural and social context. Released in a post-pandemic era, Decade of the Dead resonates with contemporary fears of societal fragility. Its portrayal of systemic failure, resource scarcity, and moral ambiguity mirrors real-world concerns about governance, health crisis, and social cohesion. Furthermore, the film subtly critiques media sensationalism and governmental responses, questioning authority and the distribution of information. Its depiction of grassroots efforts and individual heroism celebrates local resilience and collective strength outside institutional structures. Visual and aesthetic elements. The cinematography employs stark contrasts: sharp, desolate landscapes juxtaposed with intimate, emotionally charged close-ups. The use of muted color palettes emphasizes decay, while strategic bursts of color symbolize hope or danger. Special effects enhance visceral realism, but the film also employs practical effects and minimal CGI to ground the horror in tangible reality. The sound design amplifies tension, with ambient noises and silence playing pivotal roles in scene pacing. Director's artistic vision and influences. The director's vision appears to draw inspiration from classic survival films like Night of the Living Dead and 28 Days Later, yet advances the genre through a focus on character-driven stories and social commentary. The film's pacing balances action sequences with introspective moments, fostering emotional engagement. Influences from dystopian literature and political thrillers are evident, suggesting that Decade of the Dead seeks to challenge viewers' perceptions of morality, community, and resilience. Critical reception and cultural impact. While polarizing among critics, some praising its depth, others critiquing its pacing, the film has sparked conversations about its thematic richness. It has become a reference point for discussions on how genre films can serve as allegories for societal issues. Its portrayal of diverse characters and moral dilemmas has been lauded for adding complexity to the zombie genre, encouraging broader dialogue about human nature and societal values in times of crisis. Conclusion: Decade of the Dead, 2023, is more than a survival horror. It's a reflection on humanity's capacity for both destruction and renewal. Its layered storytelling, complex characters, and thematic depth make it a significant entry in contemporary cinema, resonating with audiences seeking both thrills and meaningful commentary. It underscores that in the face of apocalyptic horror, the true battleground is within, where hope, morality, and resilience are tested and forged anew. Decade of the Dead emerges as a compelling addition to the zombie apocalypse genre, blending traditional horror elements with contemporary social commentary. Directed by, director's name, the film navigates a post-apocalyptic landscape while delving into complex character arcs, societal critiques, and philosophical questions about survival and humanity. Narrative overview and structural composition. The film's narrative unfolds over a decade, emphasizing the slow, often tragic evolution of society amid chaos. Unlike typical fast-paced zombie flicks, it adopts a measured pace that allows for introspection and character development. The story is divided into multiple interconnected segments, each focusing on different groups of survivors, illustrating the fragmented nature of society post-catastrophe. This structural choice underscores the theme of disunity and resilience, portraying how various communities adapt, clash, or succumb to the relentless threat posed by the undead and human conflicts alike. Character motivations and development. Protagonist, as the central figures, main character names, are crafted with layered motivations. Their arcs explore themes of loss, hope, and redemption. For example, main character initially exhibits survivalist tendencies, but gradually embraces empathy, reflecting a broader commentary on human capacity for compassion amid despair. Antagonistic forces. Beyond zombies, the film examines human antagonism, factions fighting for resources, moral dilemmas, and the corrupting influence of power. This duality emphasizes that the greatest threats are often internal, stemming from human nature itself. Supporting characters. Supporting roles serve as microcosms of societal diversity, representing different backgrounds, beliefs, and moral codes. Their interactions highlight the complexities of alliance building and the moral gray areas faced in survival scenarios. Themes and symbolism. Survival versus humanity. A core tension revolves around maintaining one's humanity in a brutal world. The film questions whether moral compromise is necessary for survival or if true strength lies in adherence to ethical principles. Decades of decay and renewal. The passage of 10 years symbolizes both decay and potential rebirth. Visual motifs, such as abandoned cities overrun with nature, serve as metaphors for the impermanence of civilization and the resilience of life. Cultural reflection. The film subtly critiques contemporary issues, resource scarcity, governmental collapse, social inequality, and the failure of societal institutions. It prompts viewers to reflect on current vulnerabilities and the importance of community cohesion. Cinematic techniques and aesthetic choices. Visual style. Decade of the Dead employs muted color palettes contrasted with bursts of vivid imagery, symbolizing hope amid despair. The use of long takes and minimal cuts enhances realism, immersing viewers in the bleak landscape. Sound design. The soundscape amplifies the atmosphere. Distant groans, environmental sounds, and sparse musical cues evoke isolation and tension, heightening emotional engagement. Special effects and makeup. Practical effects lend authenticity to zombie portrayals, emphasizing decay and grotesqueness. While CGI is sparing but effective, used to depict large-scale destruction, hidden meanings and subtext, the film embeds multiple layers of symbolism. The overgrown city represents nature reclaiming human constructs, a metaphor for mortality and the transient nature of civilization. Masks and disguises. Characters don masks or adopt personas, symbolizing deception, identity struggles, or societal facades. The decade marker suggests that true endurance requires patience, resilience, and adaptation, traits that are tested repeatedly throughout the story. Cultural and social impact. Decade of the Dead resonates beyond its horror surface, serving as a mirror to contemporary anxieties about climate change, political instability, and societal fragmentation. Its nuanced portrayal of survival challenges prompts discourse on ethical dilemmas and the future of humanity. The film's emphasis on diversity and inclusion, highlighting marginalized groups' resilience, contributes to ongoing conversations about representation in genre cinema. Conclusion. Decade of the Dead positions itself as a reflective piece that transcends traditional zombie narratives by engaging deeply with contemporary societal issues. Its narrative incorporates elements of dystopia, survival psychology, and moral ambiguity, creating a layered film that invites viewers to contemplate not just the horror, but also the human condition under duress. The film's timing in 2023 aligns with ongoing global crisis, climate upheavals, political unrest, and pandemic fatigue, making its themes resonate on a broader cultural level. Cinematic style and visual language. Crafting a post-apocalyptic aesthetic, the film's visual palette employs a meticulous combination of bleak, desaturated tones interspersed with stark, vivid splashes of color, such as orange embers or red warning signs, to symbolize hope amid despair. This color grading accentuates the emotional stakes and emphasizes the contrast between decay and resilience. Camera work oscillates between handheld, chaotic shots during tense action sequences and steady, contemplative framing during character-driven moments, enhancing immersion and emotional depth. The use of practical effects and minimal CGI reflects a commitment to realism, grounding the horror in tangible experiences. The director's choice to shoot in real locations, abandoned buildings, deserted urban streets, adds authenticity, immersing viewers in the tangible reality of the post-apocalyptic landscape. Narrative complexity and structural innovation. Rather than following a straightforward chronological progression, Decade of the Dead employs a fragmented narrative structure. Flashbacks reveal characters' prior lives, motivations, and moral dilemmas, creating a mosaic that enhances empathy and understanding. This technique also serves as a commentary on how trauma and history shape responses to crisis, emphasizing that survival is interconnected with past choices. Parallel storylines, focused on different groups or individuals, intersect at pivotal moments, illustrating themes of interconnectedness and collective responsibility. The narrative's nonlinear approach challenges viewers to piece together the story actively, fostering engagement and reflection. Deep dive into characters and their evolution. The scientist, Dr. Lena Hart. Lena's character embodies the archetype of hope and rationality. Her background as a virologist, coupled with her personal loss, fuels her relentless pursuit of a cure. Her internal conflict revolves around balancing scientific detachment with emotional vulnerability, especially as her efforts threaten to compromise her moral integrity. Her evolution demonstrates how hope sustains resilience, but also how hubris can lead to unintended consequences. The survivor leader, Marcus exemplifies pragmatic survivalism, often resorting to morally questionable decisions for the greater good. His backstory, trauma from losing loved ones, justifies his hardened demeanor. His arc questions the ethics of leadership in crisis, challenging viewers to consider whether ruthless pragmatism is justified when stakes are life and death. His eventual realization of community's importance adds complexity to his character. The young rebel, Maya represents youthful defiance and idealism. Her journey from naive optimism to hardened realism underscores the loss of innocence that often accompanies survival. She symbolizes hope and the possibility of change, even in the bleakest circumstances, embodying the film's message that resilience can stem from the unlikeliest sources. Thematic layers and symbolism. Humanity's fragility and resilience. The film explores the paradox of human fragility and resilience. Societal collapse exposes vulnerabilities, moral, physical, and psychological, yet moments of altruism and sacrifice highlight an innate capacity for hope and renewal. The virus as a mirror of societal ills. The zombie outbreak allegorizes societal issues such as misinformation, political polarization, and environmental neglect. The relentless spread of infection mirrors the proliferation of misinformation and social discord, prompting viewers to reflect on the importance of unity and truth. Morality. In Extremis Decade of the Dead interrogates moral boundaries. What is justified when survival is at stake? Characters often make morally ambiguous choices, prompting viewers to reconsider notions of right and wrong in survival contexts. Cultural significance and socio-political commentary. The film functions as a mirror to current global tensions, drawing parallels between the chaos of the outbreak and real-world crisis. It emphasizes grassroots resilience, community rebuilding, and the importance of moral integrity amidst chaos. Its portrayal of diverse characters and inclusive narratives reflects contemporary calls for representation and social justice. Furthermore, the film critiques governmental and institutional failures, highlighting the role of individual agency and local communities in crisis management. It advocates for decentralized resilience and questions reliance on authority structures during societal breakdowns. Sound design and musical score. The soundscape employs layered ambient noises, distant sirens, footsteps, guttural groans that build tension and realism. Silence is strategically used to heighten suspense, especially during moments of introspection or imminent danger. The musical score balances haunting melodies with pulsating rhythms, underscoring emotional beats and action sequences, reinforcing the film's thematic duality of despair and hope. Director's artistic philosophy and influences. The director's approach combines homage to classic horror icons with innovative storytelling. Influences range from George Romero's social commentary to Danny Boyle's kinetic energy, infused with a contemporary sensibility that emphasizes character development and societal critique. The director aims to craft a film that is both entertaining and thought-provoking, encouraging viewers to consider their roles within societal resilience. Critical reception and audience impact. While some critics praise Decade of the Dead for its depth and social relevance, others critique its pacing or narrative density. Nevertheless, its capacity to spark dialogue on societal vulnerabilities and human morality cements its place as a meaningful contribution to genre cinema. The film has become a reference point for discussions on how horror can serve as a lens for examining societal issues. Summary. Decade of the Dead, 2023, elevates the zombie genre through its intricate storytelling, rich characterizations, and layered thematic exploration. It challenges audiences to confront uncomfortable truths about society, morality, and resilience, all while delivering visceral horror and compelling drama. Its artistic choices, visual, narrative, and auditory, combine to create an immersive experience that resonates far beyond its genre roots. Decade of the Dead is not merely a zombie horror film. It is an introspective exploration of human resilience, societal fragility, and the moral complexities that emerge in the face of apocalyptic chaos. Its ambitious scope spans 10 years of narrative, capturing the slow unraveling and tentative rebuilding of civilization. This film challenges viewers to reconsider notions of heroism, community, and what it truly means to survive. A narrative tapestry woven with multiple perspectives, unlike traditional horror films focusing on a singular protagonist or a linear timeline. Decade of the Dead employs a multi-layered storytelling approach. It interweaves several storylines, each representing different societal strata: farmers, urban survivors, military factions, and marginalized groups. This mosaic underscores the universality of human struggle and the varied responses to catastrophe. Each storyline offers a unique lens. For instance, the urban narrative delves into chaos, desperation, and moral compromise, while the rural segments highlight resilience, resourcefulness, and the importance of community bonds. The convergence of these narratives emphasizes that survival is a collective endeavor, shaped by diverse values and experiences, character complexity, and evolution. The film excels in portraying characters with authentic psychological depth. Unlike stereotypical zombie movie archetypes, its characters grapple with internal conflicts, guilt, hope, fear, and moral dilemmas that evolve over the decade. A standout character, Name, begins as a hardened survivor driven by vengeance, but gradually becomes a symbol of hope and reconciliation. Another figure, Name, embodies the moral gray area, struggling between self-interest and altruism, highlighting the nuanced nature of human decision-making when societal norms collapse. This evolution demonstrates that survival is not just about physical endurance, but also about emotional and ethical resilience. Characters are tested repeatedly, and their growth, or deterioration, mirrors the film's overarching message. Humanity's true strength lies in its capacity for adaptation and compassion. Thematic depths and societal critique: the fragility of civilization. The film vividly depicts how quickly societal structures disintegrate when faced with sustained trauma. Infrastructure crumbles, governments collapse, and social order dissolves, revealing the thin veneer that separates civilization from savagery. This portrayal invites viewers to reflect on current vulnerabilities: climate change, political unrest, economic disparity, and consider their potential escalation. Moral ambiguity and ethical dilemmas: in a world devoid of established laws, characters confront choices that blur moral lines. Do they prioritize personal safety at the expense of others? Should they cooperate or compete? The film does not offer easy answers, but instead emphasizes that morality is context-dependent and often tested under extreme conditions. This exploration adds philosophical weight, prompting viewers to. Decade of the Dead is a compelling addition to the zombie genre, not merely as a horror spectacle, but as a mirror reflecting contemporary societal fears and hopes. Its layered narrative, nuanced characters, and thematic richness elevate it from typical zombie fare, prompting viewers to contemplate larger issues about human nature, morality, and resilience in times of crisis. Narrative depth and structural innovation: unlike conventional zombie films that rely heavily on suspense and gore, Decade of the Dead employs an intricate narrative structure that interlaces multiple timelines and perspectives. This approach enriches the storytelling by providing a panoramic view of the unfolding apocalypse, illustrating how different individuals confront the same chaos from unique vantage points. The film's use of flashbacks is not merely for backstory, but functions as a device to deepen emotional engagement and foreshadow future events. These glimpses into characters' pasts reveal motivations, regrets, and unresolved conflicts that influence their choices during the crisis. This layered storytelling technique emphasizes the idea that history, personal and collective, shapes present responses to disaster. Character complexity and moral ambiguity: central to the film's impact is its character development. Unlike archetypal survivors, many characters in Decade of the Dead are morally complex embodying contradictions that challenge viewers' sympathies and judgments. The Scientist's Dilemma, Dr. Lena Hart, initially portrayed as a beacon of hope, is driven by her obsession with finding a cure. Her scientific pursuit is intertwined with personal guilt over her role in a prior failed experiment, which inadvertently contributed to the outbreak. Her internal struggle embodies the tension between scientific curiosity and ethical responsibility, raising questions about the morality of risking human life for potential solutions. The ruthless survivor, Marcus, the pragmatic leader, enforces harsh measures to ensure group survival. His moral compass is questionable, sometimes employing brutal tactics. Yet, his backstory reveals loss and betrayal, justifying his hardened exterior. His arc prompts reflection on whether survival often demands moral concessions, and whether absolute morality has a place in apocalyptic worlds. The ordinary hero. Among secondary characters, an elderly survivor exemplifies quiet resilience, refusing to succumb to despair. His unwavering hope and acts of kindness serve as a counterbalance to violence and chaos, illustrating that heroism in such scenarios often manifests in subtle, human acts. Thematic exploration, society, morality, and humanity decay and rebirth. The pervasive imagery of decay, rotting buildings, disintegrating social order, serves as a visual metaphor for moral and societal decline. Yet, amidst the ruins, signs of rebirth emerge, communities forming anew, individuals forging bonds, and hope persisting despite overwhelming despair. This duality underscores the film's core message. Destruction paves the way for renewal if human resilience endures. The virus as a societal mirror. The outbreak is depicted as a catalyst exposing societal fractures, inequality, corruption, and neglect. The film subtly criticizes systemic failures, illustrating how marginalized groups suffer disproportionately, and how leadership vacillates between denial and panic. The zombie infection becomes a metaphor for societal maladies, spread by misinformation, greed, and neglect, that threaten to consume civilization from within. Moral shades and ethical dilemmas. The film delves into complex ethical questions. Is it justifiable to sacrifice a few for the greater good? Should morality be flexible in life and death situations? How do personal loyalties conflict with broader survival strategies? These dilemmas are embodied in characters' choices, emphasizing that in an apocalyptic world, morality often exists in shades of gray. Visual and aesthetic significance. The cinematography employs contrasting tones, cold, desolate landscapes against intimate, warm-lit interiors, to evoke emotional responses. The use of natural lighting enhances realism, immersing viewers in the bleakness and rawness of survival. Practical effects are prioritized over CGI, lending authenticity to zombie portrayals and gore. The visceral experience is heightened by meticulous sound design, ambient noises, heartbeat rhythms, and sudden silences that manipulate tension and audience engagement. Cultural reflection and contemporary relevance. Set against the backdrop of a post-pandemic society, Decade of the Dead resonates deeply with recent global experiences. It reflects fears of societal breakdown, resource scarcity, and governmental ineffectiveness. Its portrayal of grassroots resilience and individual agency counters narratives of helplessness, emphasizing that hope and agency are vital in crisis. Furthermore, the film critiques media sensationalism, depicting how misinformation fuels panic and mistrust. It questions authority structures, advocating for community-led solutions and moral integrity, even amid chaos. Director's artistic vision and genre evolution. The director's approach signifies an evolution in the zombie genre, from mindless hordes to complex allegories. Influences from dystopian literature, psychological thrillers, and political commentary are woven seamlessly into the narrative fabric. The film balances visceral horror with philosophical inquiry, challenging audiences to consider what it means to be human when societal norms collapse. Its pacing, oscillating between frantic action and contemplative moments, fosters a nuanced viewing experience, reception, and lasting impact. While critics acknowledge its thematic depth, some cite pacing issues or tonal shifts. Nonetheless, Decade of the Dead has sparked vital conversations about societal vulnerabilities, resilience, and morality. Its influence extends beyond entertainment, prompting viewers to reflect on their roles within their communities and the importance of ethical integrity during crises. Conclusion: a reflection of our time's. Decade of the Dead, 2023, transcends traditional zombie narratives, functioning as a profound commentary on human fragility and strength. It challenges audiences to confront uncomfortable truths about societal failure and personal morality, ultimately asserting that even in the darkest times, hope, compassion, and resilience can prevail. Decade of the Dead, 2023, is more than a typical zombie apocalypse film. It's a layered narrative that interrogates the essence of human resilience, societal collapse, and the moral complexities that surface when civilization falters. By blending horror with philosophical inquiry, the film invites viewers to examine not just survival in a post-apocalyptic world, but what it truly means to preserve one's humanity amid chaos. Thematic depth and societal parallels at its core, the film acts as a mirror to current global concerns. The decimation of cities and the breakdown of social order serve as allegories for climate change, political upheaval, and economic disparity. The overgrown urban landscape symbolize nature reclaiming what was once lost, prompting reflection on environmental sustainability and humanity's impact on Earth. Furthermore, the film's depiction of fractured communities underscores the fragility of social cohesion. It suggests that societal bonds, much like the physical structures of civilization, require active nurturing to survive. When these bonds weaken, chaos ensues, and survival often becomes a matter of moral compromise, character complexity, and ethical dilemmas. Unlike conventional zombie films that focus primarily on action, Decade of the Dead emphasizes character psychology and ethical dilemmas. Characters are portrayed with depth, each shaped by their past experiences, hopes, and fears. Their decisions reflect a nuanced understanding of morality in an amoral world. For example, some characters face choices that pit their survival instincts against their conscience, such as rationing dwindling supplies or negotiating with hostile factions. These moments are crafted to challenge viewers' perceptions of right and wrong, illustrating that survival often involves moral ambiguity. The protagonist's journey is particularly compelling. Their evolution from fear-driven survivor to compassionate leader underscores the film's message. Resilience isn't just about physical endurance, but also moral steadfastness. Visual storytelling and atmosphere. The cinematography employs stark contrasts. Dilapidated urban environments juxtaposed with moments of fleeting beauty, such as sprouting greenery or sunset vistas. This visual dichotomy reinforces themes of decay and renewal. Lighting choices, harsh shadows, and subdued tones evoke a sense of unease, while occasional bursts of color symbolize hope or pivotal emotional moments. The use of wide-angle shots captures the vast emptiness of the world, emphasizing loneliness and the scale of devastation. Sound design complements these visuals with ambient noises, howling wind, distant groans, and subtle musical cues that heighten tension and immersion. Practical effects for zombies highlight their grotesque decay, enhancing realism without sacrificing artistic authenticity. Hidden symbols and subtle messages. Decade of the Dead employs symbolism that rewards attentive viewing. The overgrown cityscape represents nature's resilience and the transient nature of human achievements. Broken mirrors, or reflections, symbolize fractured identities or self-examination among characters. The decade marker signifies not just the passage of time but the endurance needed to confront long-term crises. These symbols deepen the narrative, encouraging viewers to ponder existential themes beyond the immediate horror. cultural significance and impact. This film's cultural resonance lies in its capacity to provoke introspection about contempo. Decade of the Dead, 2023, emerges as a provocative addition to the post-apocalyptic genre, distinguished not just by its visceral horror elements, but by its incisive exploration of human psychology, societal breakdown, and moral ambiguity. This film challenges viewers to reconsider notions of heroism, community, and survival amid chaos, positioning itself as both entertainment and social commentary, narrative complexity, and genre subversion. Unlike traditional zombie narratives that focus solely on action and survival, Decade of the Dead employs a layered storytelling approach that intertwines personal histories with societal collapse. Its non-traditional structure, frequently shifting perspectives, serves to dismantle linear storytelling conventions, encouraging viewers to piece together the puzzle of the characters' pasts and their current predicaments. The film subtly subverts genre expectations by emphasizing psychological horror and moral dilemmas over sheer gore. It questions whether zombies are the true threat or merely catalysts for deeper societal anxieties, such as mistrust, greed, and the erosion of civil institutions. Deeper character motivations and psychological portraits. While protagonists like Lena are driven by altruism and hope, many characters exhibit complex psychological states influenced by trauma, loss, and fear. For instance, Lena's obsession with finding a cure reflects a deeper refusal to accept death and despair, embodying a universal human desire for control and salvation amid chaos. Marcus's authoritarian tendencies reveal a fragile psyche seeking order in the chaos, illustrating how power can become a coping mechanism for fear. The younger survivors navigate their trauma differently, some with resilience, others with nihilism, highlighting generational divides in coping mechanisms and moral outlooks. The film's nuanced portrayal of these characters emphasizes that survival is as much an internal battle as an external one, echoing real-world psychological struggles encountered during crisis. Thematic depth and symbolism beyond its surface narrative, Decade of the Dead employs symbolism to deepen its thematic resonance. Corrosion and decay are omnipresent, symbolizing societal rot but also the potential for renewal. The physical decay of environments mirrors moral decay within communities. The virus' unpredictable nature becomes a metaphor for societal contagions, racism, misinformation, political polarization that spread insidiously, destabilizing social fabric. Light and darkness are used symbolically. Moments of hope are often illuminated by natural light, while despair and violence are shrouded in darkness, visually reinforcing themes of enlightenment versus ignorance, cultural reflection, and contemporary relevance set against the backdrop of the early 2020s, a period marked by global upheaval, pandemic fears, and social unrest. The film reflects contemporary anxieties. It acts as a mirror to the fragility of modern institutions. Government responses are depicted as flawed or indifferent, prompting viewers to question authority and collective responsibility. The rise of individualism. Amid chaos, characters' choices highlight the tension between self-interest and community-oriented actions. Environmental concerns. The film subtly alludes to ecological collapse as a root cause of societal destabilization, aligning with current debates on climate change. Decade of the Dead thus functions as both a cautionary tale and a philosophical meditation on human resilience and societal sustainability. Visual and aesthetic innovation. The film's visual language is intentionally stark, employing desaturated tones to evoke bleakness, but punctuated with bursts of color, signaling moments of clarity or danger. The use of handheld camera work immerses viewers in chaos, blurring the line between observer and participant. Innovative practical effects lend realism to gore and creature design, enhancing visceral impact without overwhelming the narrative. Cinematographers' choices, such as framing and lighting, serve to emphasize characters' emotional states. From claustrophobic close-ups to expansive shots of desolate landscapes, Director's artistic philosophy and influences the director's approach appears rooted in a desire to elevate the genre beyond mere horror, drawing inspiration from social realist cinema and psychological thrillers. Influences from filmmakers like George A. Romero and John Carpenter are evident, but there's also a clear intent to explore contemporary themes. The film's tone oscillates between bleak realism and moments of lyrical beauty, reflecting a belief in cinema's capacity to inspire hope amid despair. Its narrative choices encourage viewers to confront uncomfortable truths about society and their own complicity. Critical reception and sociocultural impact. While critics have lauded the film for its ambitious storytelling and social critique, some have criticized its pacing and tonal shifts. Nevertheless, Decade of the Dead has sparked widespread debate. In academic circles, it is analyzed as a cultural artifact reflecting 21st century fears. In popular culture, it's celebrated for its complex characters and moral questions, prompting discussions about ethics in crisis scenarios. In activism, it has been used to highlight issues like environmental degradation, misinformation, and social fragmentation. Its influence extends beyond cinema, inspiring conversations about preparedness, resilience, and societal values. Conclusion. Decade of the Dead, 2023, stands as a testament to the evolving landscape of horror cinema, one that is less about shock and more about substance. Its nuanced storytelling, layered characters, and timely themes reinforce the idea that the true horror lies not just in the undead, but in humanity's collective response to adversity. The film challenges audiences to think critically about their world, urging a reflection on morality, community, and hope. In doing so, it secures its place as a significant cultural artifact of its era, an enduring commentary on resilience in the face of societal decay. Decade of the Dead, 2023, distinguishes itself through its nuanced storytelling, thematic depth, and a deliberate pacing that invites reflection. Unlike typical zombie films that prioritize shock and spectacle, this film crafts a layered exploration of human resilience, societal collapse, and moral ambiguity across a decade-long timeline. The film's ambition lies in its capacity to transcend genre conventions, offering both visceral horror and philosophical inquiry. A decade in the making. Structuring time and memory. The narrative span over 10 years allows the film to explore the slow unraveling and potential rebirth of civilization. This temporal scope facilitates a detailed examination of the evolution of individual characters and communities, emphasizing how time influences perception, memory, and adaptation. The choice to depict a prolonged post-apocalyptic landscape also underscores the concept that survival is not merely about avoiding zombies, but about enduring psychological and emotional strains. The pacing, characterized by periods of quiet reflection punctuated by intense action, mirrors the unpredictable rhythm of real-world crisis, moments of stillness interrupted by chaos, deep characterization and psychological complexity. Humans at the heart of horror. The film excels in its development of characters, who are not simply survivors, but psychologically complex individuals shaped by their environment. For instance, main character, once driven purely by self-interest, gradually confronts moral dilemmas that challenge their initial worldview. Their internal conflict, balancing self-preservation with empathy, is a microcosm of the film's broader thematic inquiry. Representation of marginalized voices, inclusion of diverse characters adds richness to the narrative. Their perspectives illuminate systemic inequalities that persist even amid societal breakdown, highlighting that the apocalypse does not erase social hierarchies, but often exacerbates them. Trauma and resilience. The film vividly portrays trauma through flashbacks, visual cues, and character interactions, underscoring that psychological scars are as enduring as physical injuries. Resilience emerges as a conscious choice, often symbolized by moments of vulnerability and honesty. Thematic layers and philosophical underpinnings. Humanity and loss. Central to the film is the tension between maintaining one's humanity and succumbing to primal instincts. Several characters grapple with choices that test their morals, whether to hoard resources, betray allies, or show kindness. These moments invite viewers to question what it truly means to be human. Societal collapse and rebuilding. The visual motif of overgrown cities, abandoned infrastructure, and makeshift communities illustrates both decay and potential renewal. The film suggests that from chaos, new forms of social organization can emerge, though not without cost. Environmental metaphors. The encroachment of nature into urban spaces acts as a metaphor for ecological consequences of human negligence. The resurgence of flora and fauna amidst ruins symbolizes both destruction and hope, hinting at nature's resilience and the possibility of regeneration. Cinematic craftsmanship and artistic choices. Visual aesthetics. The cinematography employs a muted, desaturated palette with strategic bursts of color, such as vibrant greens or fiery reds, to draw attention to moments of significance. Wide shots depict vast, empty landscapes, emphasizing isolation, while close-ups reveal emotional depths. Sound and silence. Sound design amplifies mood. Ambient sounds evoke desolation, while silence underscores moments of introspection. The sparse musical score functions as an emotional anchor, guiding viewers through the narrative's tonal shifts. Practical effects and realism. The film's commitment to practical Decade of the Dead positions itself as a provocative addition to the zombie genre, distinguished not only by its visceral horror elements, but also by its ambitious thematic scope. Unlike conventional zombie films that primarily focus on survival and gore, this film endeavors to interrogate the social fabric, moral ambiguity, and existential questions that arise amid societal breakdown. Its release in 2023 situates it within a cultural moment fraught with global crisis, making its themes resonate deeply with contemporary audiences. Cinematic aesthetics and visual language. The film's visual storytelling employs a deliberate palette that underscores its thematic intentions. The use of desaturated, almost monochrome tones during scenes of societal collapse emphasizes decay and despair, mirroring the moral and environmental degradation. Conversely, moments of hope or human connection are accentuated through subtle bursts of color, such as a red scarf or a bright dawn, serving as visual metaphors for resilience and rebirth. Cinematographers' choices, such as wide, sweeping shots of abandoned cityscapes, highlight the vastness of destruction, while close-ups capture raw emotional states, fostering intimacy with the characters' internal struggles. The camera work often employs shaky, handheld techniques during chaos to evoke immediacy, contrasting with steadier shots during reflective moments, guiding viewers through the emotional landscape of the narrative. Soundscape and auditory symbolism. Sound design plays a pivotal role in building tension and atmosphere. The film's auditory landscape is characterized by a sparse, ambient score that amplifies silence, heightening the sense of isolation. The subtle use of diegetic sounds, such as distant screams, footsteps, or the rustling of debris, serves to immerse viewers in a world teetering on the edge of chaos. Notably, the use of dissonant musical cues during pivotal scenes underscores moral ambiguity or impending disaster. The contrast between moments of silence and cacophony reflects the fragile balance between order and disorder, emphasizing how noise and quiet can manipulate emotional response. Narrative layers and subtext beyond its surface plot. Decade of the Dead offers layers of narrative subtext that critique societal structures. The outbreak itself can be read as an allegory for the rapid spread of misinformation, political polarization, or environmental crisis, each infection a metaphor for societal maladies that have gone unchecked. The film subtly examines themes of authority and anarchy. Certain characters represent institutional power, military figures, government officials, whose actions range from protective to oppressive. Others embody grassroots resilience, emphasizing community-based solutions over top-down control. This dichotomy invites reflection on leadership, trust, and self-reliance. Character dynamics and psychological depth. One of the film's strengths lies in its complex characterizations. The scientist, Lena, her unwavering commitment to finding a cure stems from personal tragedy, but her scientific rationality is challenged by the chaos surrounding her. Her internal conflict between scientific objectivity and emotional vulnerability reflects broader questions about the role of science and morality in crisis. The survivor, Marcus's pragmatic, sometimes ruthless decisions are rooted in past trauma. His character arc explores whether moral compromise is necessary for survival or if integrity can endure in extremis. The caregiver, Sarah, embodying compassion. Sarah's unwavering empathy highlights the importance of human connection. Her interactions reveal how kindness can serve as a form of resistance against dehumanization. Their interactions form a tapestry that explores trust, betrayal, sacrifice, and hope, core elements that define human resilience. Cultural reflection and contemporary relevance. Set against the backdrop of a post-pandemic world, the film directly engages with recent global experiences. Its portrayal of resource scarcity, societal fragmentation, and moral dilemmas mirrors real-world issues such as climate change, political unrest, and public health crises. Moreover, the film questions the efficacy of institutional responses, often depicting government or military figures as either inept or overly authoritarian. It champions community-led efforts and individual agency, emphasizing that hope often resides in small, collective acts rather than grand institutional solutions. Ethical and philosophical inquiry. Decade of the Dead invites viewers to ponder profound philosophical questions. What defines humanity in the face of monstrosity? The film blurs the lines between human and monster, prompting reflection on morality. When societal norms collapse, is survival enough? Characters grapple with whether mere existence suffices, or if maintaining moral integrity is achievable amid chaos. Can hope be sustained in darkness? Small acts of kindness and resilience serve as evidence that hope persists even in the bleakest circumstances. These inquiries elevate the film from pure horror to a meditation on human nature and societal endurance. Thematic significance and future implications. The film's exploration of decay and renewal resonates with contemporary discussions about sustainability and societal reform. Its depiction of environmental and social collapse functions as a cautionary tale, urging viewers to reflect on current trajectories and the importance of resilience, adaptability, and community cohesion. Additionally, Decade of the Dead challenges genre conventions by integrating social critique, psychological complexity, and visual artistry, setting a precedent for future horror and disaster films to incorporate meaningful commentary alongside entertainment. Conclusion: a reflection of our time. Decade of the Dead, 2023, stands as a multifaceted cinematic achievement, blending visceral horror with incisive social commentary. Its sophisticated visual and auditory design, layered narrative, and complex characters create a compelling tableau that prompts introspection about humanity's capacity for destruction and regeneration. As society continues to navigate crisis, ecological, political, or health-related, the film's message of resilience, moral inquiry, and hope remains profoundly relevant. It challenges audiences to consider how we rebuild not just our world, but also our moral compass in the face of impending darkness. Decade of the Dead emerges as a sophisticated entry into the zombie apocalypse genre, transcending conventional horror to offer a layered examination of societal collapse, human resilience, and moral complexity. Its decade-long timeframe allows for a nuanced exploration of characters' evolution, societal shifts, and the enduring question of what it truly means to survive. Innovative narrative structure and its significance. Unlike traditional zombie films that prioritize immediate action, Decade of the Dead employs a sprawling narrative that spans 10 years, segmented into distinct phases. This structure serves multiple purposes. Temporal depth. It allows viewers to witness the gradual transformation of landscapes and communities, emphasizing that societal breakdown is a process, not an instant event. Character evolution. The extended timeline provides space for characters to evolve, confront personal demons, and adapt morally, highlighting the fluidity of human nature under extreme conditions. Thematic layering. The segmentation enables thematic shifts, from initial chaos to attempts at rebuilding, and finally to reflection on what has been lost and gained. This approach fosters a comprehensive understanding of the post-apocalyptic world, emphasizing that survival is intertwined with adaptation, sacrifice, and moral compromise. Character analysis. Depth beyond archetypes. Complex protagonists. Decade of the Dead features protagonists who defy typical genre stereotypes. They are multidimensional, with internal conflicts that mirror broader societal issues. For example, main character, once a hardened survivor, faces internal dilemmas about whether to prioritize personal safety or moral responsibility. Antagonists and factions. The film explores the emergence of human factions that mirror real-world political and social divisions, some driven by greed, others by ideology. These factions often clash over resources, power, or ideological beliefs, reflecting ongoing societal struggles. Supporting cast. Supporting characters are not mere background figures, but represent diverse perspectives, ranging from idealists striving for utopia to nihilists resigned to chaos. Their interactions reveal the complexities of moral decision-making in survival scenarios. Themes and philosophical underpinnings. The fragility of civilization. Visual and narrative motifs depict crumbling infrastructure, overgrown urban landscapes, and abandoned institutions, symbolizing the transient nature of human constructs. The film prompts reflection on how fragile civilization truly is, and how quickly it can revert to primal instincts. Ethics in extremis. A recurring motif involves moral dilemmas, such as decisions to sacrifice some for the greater good or to compromise principles for immediate survival. These dilemmas serve as allegories for contemporary ethical debates, amplified by the crisis setting. Hope amid decay. Despite pervasive despair, moments of hope, such as small acts of kindness, community rebuilding, or personal growth, serve as counterpoints to despair. These moments underscore a resilient human spirit that persists despite overwhelming odds. Environmental reflection. The overgrowth and reclamation of urban spaces by nature symbolize the cyclical aspect of life and death, hinting at ecological themes and the idea that life persists beyond human civilization's demise. Aesthetic and technical mastery. Visual storytelling. The film employs a muted color palette punctuated by the Decade of the Dead distinguishes itself within the zombie genre through its ambitious narrative scope and thematic ambition. Unlike conventional zombie films that primarily focus on survival horror, this film delves into societal collapse, human psychology, and philosophical questions about morality in apocalyptic settings. Its release during a period marked by global upheaval amplifies its relevance, making it a reflection not only of fictional chaos, but also of real-world uncertainties. Narrative complexity and structural innovation. The film's narrative employs a mosaic-like approach, intertwining multiple character perspectives and timelines. This technique allows the audience to observe different facets of the crisis, personal, communal, and systemic, simultaneously. Such a structure enhances thematic richness, emphasizing that the apocalypse is not monolithic, but experienced uniquely by each individual. Moreover, the film's use of symbolism within its storytelling, such as recurring motifs of decay, rebirth, and confinement, serves to reinforce its core messages. The narrative's layered exposition demands attentive viewing, rewarding viewers with insights into characters, hidden motives, and the overarching societal commentary. Deep dive into character dynamics. Lena Hart's scientific morality. Lena's journey is emblematic of the tension between scientific progression and moral responsibility. Her relentless pursuit of a cure highlights the ethical dilemmas faced when scientific knowledge intersects with human desperation. Her internal conflict intensifies as she confronts the potential consequences of her actions, whether to prioritize individual survival or broader societal good. Marcus's ethical ambiguity. Marcus's leadership style, ruthless yet pragmatic, serves as a critique of authoritarian responses to crisis. His decisions reveal a man shaped by loss and a desire for order, even at the expense of compassion. His character questions whether morality is flexible in extreme circumstances and challenges viewers to consider the cost of survival. Supporting cast as archetypes. Characters such as the idealist, the skeptic, and the caregiver symbolize societal roles and philosophical viewpoints. Their interactions explore themes of trust, betrayal, and sacrifice, illustrating that survival often depends on complex interpersonal dynamics rather than individual resilience alone. Thematic depth and philosophical underpinning. Survival as a moral quandary. The narrative probes whether survival justifies morally questionable actions. Decisions made by characters, such as resource hoarding or violence, serve as case studies for ethical boundaries in crisis, prompting reflection on what humanity retains when stripped of societal norms. The illusion of control. The film underscores the fragility of human control in the face of natural and societal forces. The unpredictable spread of the infection mirrors the unpredictability of life itself, emphasizing humility and adaptability over hubris. Existential reflection. Beyond the physical threats, Decade of the Dead invites viewers to contemplate existential questions. What does it mean to be human when civilization collapses? How do hope and despair coexist in the human psyche? These inquiries elevate the film from mere horror to a philosophical meditation. Visual and aesthetic innovations. The film's visual language employs stark contrasts to evoke emotional responses. Use of chiaroscuro lighting accentuates themes of hope versus despair, while the desolate landscapes symbolize societal disintegration. The cinematography's deliberate framing underscores characters' isolation or solidarity, emphasizing emotional states and thematic contrasts. Practical effects dominate, creating visceral horror that feels tangible. The detailed makeup and prosthetics evoke a sense of realism, making the undead threat visceral rather than fantastical. Minimal reliance on CGI preserves the film's gritty aesthetic, immersing viewers in its bleak universe. Sound design and musical score. Sound plays a pivotal role in shaping the film's tense atmosphere. Ambient noises, distant screams, creaking structures, wind, build a sense of unease and unpredictability. Silence is strategically used to heighten suspense, forcing viewers to confront the character's vulnerability. The musical score incorporates haunting melodies and dissonant sounds, reflecting the emotional turmoil and chaos. The rhythmic pulsations underscore moments of action or revelation, aligning the audience's emotional pulse with the narrative's tempo. Director's artistic vision and genre subversion. The director's approach subverts traditional zombie tropes by emphasizing psychological horror and societal critique over gore alone. Inspired by filmmakers like George Romero but pushing boundaries, the director employs a nuanced storytelling style that balances visceral horror with intellectual engagement. This vision fosters a sense of realism and immediacy, challenging viewers' expectations and encouraging critical thought about real-world issues, climate change, political instability, and social fragmentation. Cultural significance and contemporary relevance. Decade of the Dead resonates strongly in a post-pandemic era, reflecting collective fears and hopes. Its portrayal of misinformation, governmental collapse, and grassroots resilience mirrors contemporary debates about trust, authority, and community agency. Moreover, the film's diverse characters and inclusive storytelling challenge genre stereotypes, promoting a broader understanding of human resilience across different backgrounds. Its themes advocate for unity and moral integrity amid chaos, serving as a call to collective responsibility. Conclusion: an artistic triumph and societal mirror. Decade of the Dead, 2023, stands as a testament to the power of genre filmmaking to explore complex societal issues through visceral storytelling. Its layered narrative, philosophical depth, and visual artistry elevated beyond conventional horror, making it a profound reflection on human nature and societal resilience. In a world teetering on the edge of multiple crises, the film's message is clear. Survival depends not only on physical endurance, but also on moral clarity, compassion, and the capacity for hope. It challenges audiences to consider their own responses to chaos and to recognize the enduring strength of the human spirit. Decade of the Dead is more than a typical zombie film. It is an introspective piece that uses the horror genre as a mirror to contemporary societal fears and moral questions. Set across 10 years, the film meticulously examines how individuals and communities adapt, or fail to adapt, to an apocalyptic world over an extended timeline. Its layered storytelling, complex characters, and symbolic imagery make it a compelling subject for analysis. Narrative structure and temporal scope of film's decade-long scope allows it to explore the slow unraveling of civilization. Unlike fast-moving zombie narratives, Decade of the Dead employs a deliberate pacing that emphasizes the passage of time, personal growth, and societal collapse. The segmented narrative format, intertwining various survivor groups, serves to highlight different responses to adversity and the evolution of moral choices. This structure mirrors real-world processes, where change is gradual yet profound. It also invites viewers to reflect on how hope, despair, and resilience evolve over extended periods, emphasizing that survival is as much an emotional and moral journey as it is a physical one. Character arcs and moral dilemmas. Complex personalities. Characters are crafted with nuanced backstories and evolving motivations. For instance, a former scientist might grapple with guilt over failed attempts to find a cure, while a hardened survivor may confront their own capacity for brutality. These internal struggles elevate the narrative beyond mere survival, probing questions about identity and morality. Moral gray areas. The film does not present a black and white dichotomy. Characters are faced with morally ambiguous choices, sacrifices, betrayals, and compromises that challenge traditional notions of heroism. This realism underscores the idea that in extreme circumstances, morality becomes fluid and survival often hinges on difficult decisions. Transformation over time. Some characters evolve from self-centered individuals to compassionate leaders, illustrating human capacity for growth even amidst chaos. Conversely, others succumb to despair or villainy, serving as cautionary tales about moral corrosion. Themes and underlying messages. Human nature under duress. The narrative explores whether humans are inherently good or evil when stripped of societal norms. The diverse reactions, altruism, selfishness, brutality, serve to question the essential nature of humanity. Resilience and adaptability. The film emphasizes that survival requires adaptability, both physically and psychologically. Survivors learn new skills, modify their moral boundaries, and forge new social bonds to endure. Environmental symbolism. Overgrown cities, reclaimed by nature, symbolize the impermanence of human achievements. They also evoke themes of renewal and the cyclical nature of life and death. Societal critique. The breakdown of government institutions and social order reflects anxieties about current political fragility. The film subtly critiques dependence on centralized power and emphasizes community-led resilience. Visual and auditory aesthetic cinematography. The visual language employs desaturated tones, emphasizing decay and desolation, contrasting with occasional vibrant elements, such as blooming flora, that symbolize hope and renewal. Wide shots of abandoned urban landscapes evoke loneliness and the vastness of destruction. Sound design, sparse soundscapes, distant groans, environmental echoes, heightened tension. Use of silence in pivotal scenes underscores C. Decade of the Dead emerges at a pivotal moment for horror and post-apocalyptic filmmaking. As audiences grapple with real-world crises, climate change, social unrest, global health emergencies, the film resonates as a reflection of collective anxieties. Its narrative complexity and thematic richness distinguish it from conventional zombie fare, positioning it as a thoughtful commentary on resilience, morality, and societal fragility. Narrative complexity and structural innovation. The film's non-traditional narrative approach employs multiple perspectives, shifting viewpoints among characters to provide a mosaic of human responses. This multiplicity allows viewers to experience the crisis from various vantage points, each revealing unique fears, hopes, and moral choices. Moreover, the usage of flashbacks is not merely for backstory but functions as a device to underscore how individual histories influence present actions. These flashbacks often serve as moral touchstones, revealing pivotal moments that shaped characters' worldviews, adding depth and texture to their arc trajectories. Character depth and psychological realism. Lena Hart's inner conflict. Her scientific pursuit of a cure is motivated not solely by altruism, but also by guilt and grief. Her personal losses, family members lost to the outbreak, drive her relentless quest, illustrating how trauma fuels resilience but can also lead to obsession. Her moral dilemmas, whether to prioritize her own safety or to risk everything for others, highlight the nuanced nature of survival ethics. Marcus's power dynamics. His leadership style embodies survivalist authoritarianism, which, while effective in certain scenarios, raises questions about the cost of such a mindset. The film explores how power can corrupt or distort moral boundaries, prompting viewers to consider whether his ruthlessness is justified or ultimately destructive. Supporting ensemble. Characters such as the compassionate medic, the pragmatic engineer, and the idealistic youth serve as microcosms of broader societal roles. Their interactions and conflicts reflect societal tensions, trust versus suspicion, hope versus despair, reinforcing the importance of communal bonds. Themes explored through visual and narrative devices. Time as a narrative element. The film manipulates time to create suspense and highlight the fluidity of memory and perception. For instance, scenes where characters confront past mistakes juxtaposed with present-day decisions, emphasizing how history informs morality. Environmental decay as metaphor. The ruined landscapes are not just backdrops, but serve as symbols of environmental neglect and societal decay. The film subtly critiques human hubris, suggesting ecological destruction as a catalyst for societal collapse, an allegory for current ecological crises. Isolation and connection. The narrative underscores both physical and emotional isolation. Characters often face loneliness, yet moments of connection, whether through sacrifice, empathy, or shared trauma, become vital for survival, emphasizing the paradox of human dependence amid chaos. Cultural and political subtext. The film subtly interrogates themes of governance, misinformation, and societal resilience, distrust of authority. Depictions of government responses reveal systemic failures, corruption, or indifference, echoing contemporary debates about institutional credibility during crisis. The grassroots efforts depicted celebrate community agency, contrasting with top-down control, misinformation, and fear. The spread of false information among survivors exacerbates chaos, illustrating how fear and misinformation can undermine collective efforts. Paralleling real-world phenomena in social media and politicized narratives. Marginalized voices. Representation of diverse characters, including women in leadership roles, minority groups, and those with disabilities, challenges stereotypical portrayals, emphasizing inclusivity and the multifaceted nature of human resilience. Innovative cinematic techniques. Use of practical effects. The reliance on practical effects for gore and zombie design enhances visceral realism, immersing viewers in the horror without distancing CGI artifacts. Sound design and score. The auditory landscape employs silence and discordant sounds to evoke tension and unease. The score's minimalist approach accentuates emotional beats, reinforcing themes of vulnerability and hope. Lighting and color palette. Stark contrasts between bleak, desaturated scenes and moments of warmth or color underscore thematic shifts, highlighting hope amid despair or danger lurking within moments of calm. Philosophical and moral considerations. The film probes profound questions about morality in crisis. What constitutes justified violence? Characters often face ethical dilemmas involving lethal force, balancing self-preservation against moral integrity. Is sacrifice necessary for the greater good? Sacrificial acts are portrayed as both noble and tragic, prompting reflection on the cost of survival. Can hope survive in a decayed world? The persistence of hope challenges nihilistic impulses, suggesting that meaning and morality can endure even amid chaos. Legacy and future implications. Decade of the Dead sets a new benchmark for genre films by integrating social commentary with visceral horror. Its nuanced portrayal of human nature invites analysis beyond entertainment, prompting discussions about societal resilience and moral resilience in real-world crises. As a cultural artifact, it offers both warnings and inspiration, highlighting the importance of community, moral integrity, and adaptability. Its influence may inspire future filmmakers to explore the genre as a platform for social critique and philosophical inquiry. Conclusion. In sum, Decade of the Dead, 2023, is a multi-layered cinematic exploration that transcends traditional zombie narratives. Its intricate storytelling, complex characters, and thematic richness establish it as a significant work reflective of our times. It challenges viewers to confront uncomfortable truths about humanity's capacity for destruction and redemption, making it a vital cultural artifact and a thought-provoking piece of modern cinema. Decade of the Dead is more than a typical zombie apocalypse film. It's a meditation on resilience, societal collapse, and the enduring human spirit. Set against a backdrop of a world ravaged by the undead, the film challenges viewers to confront complex moral dilemmas and reflect on the fragility of civilization. Through meticulous storytelling, nuanced characters, and symbolic visuals, it elevates the genre into a thought-provoking narrative about what it truly means to survive, and at what cost. Thematic layers beyond the surface. The passage of time as a narrative device. One of the most striking aspects of Decade of the Dead is its focus on a 10-year timeline. Unlike many zombie films that rush through the initial outbreak, this film intentionally slows down the story, allowing viewers to witness the gradual adaptation and transformation of its characters and environments. This temporal span is symbolic of endurance and the slow erosion of societal norms. It underscores that survival is not just about immediate action, but also about enduring the long-term consequences of catastrophe. The cycles of decay and rebirth throughout the film, visuals of overgrown cities and reclaimed nature serve as potent symbols of decay and renewal. These images evoke the idea that destruction paves the way for rebirth, hinting at ecological cycles and the resilience of life despite human failure. This motif suggests a philosophical reflection. Civilizations are transient, and nature's persistence is an unstoppable force. Cultural reflection and critique. Decade of the Dead subtly critiques modern societal structures, governments, corporations, and social hierarchies that falter under crisis. It questions the efficacy of institutional authority, showcasing how chaos levels the playing field and forces characters to forge new social contracts. This critique extends to consumerism, environmental neglect, and political corruption, positioning the zombie outbreak as a metaphor for the consequences of societal neglect. Character dynamics and moral ambiguity. Complexity of protagonists. The film's central characters are crafted with psychological depth. For example, main character's name, a former leader, grapples with guilt over past failures, driving their cautious yet compassionate approach to leadership. Their internal conflict embodies the struggle between self-preservation and altruism. Similarly, other characters undergo transformations, from ruthless survivalists to empathetic figures, highlighting the fluidity of morality in extreme circumstances. Human enemies and internal struggles beyond the undead, human factions emerge as primary antagonists, representing greed, power struggles, and ideological divides. These conflicts mirror real-world social tensions, illustrating that the greatest threats often stem from within society itself. Characters' choices reveal the gray areas of morality. Sometimes, survival necessitates harsh decisions, prompting viewers to reconsider what constitutes right and wrong. Visual and aesthetic innovation. Cinematic techniques. The film employs a mix of documentary-style realism and poetic imagery. Long, static shots of abandoned urban landscapes evoke desolation and nostalgia, while tight, handheld sequences during tense confrontations increase immediacy. Use of natural light and muted color palettes enhances the bleak atmosphere, emphasizing themes of desolation, symbolism in design, and setting. Overgrown urban environments signify both decay and the persistence of life. Masks and disguises represent hidden identities and societal facades. Dilapidated structures serve as reminders of human hubris and the impermanence of civilization. Soundscapes and music. The minimalistic score relies on ambient sounds. Decade of the Dead arrives at a pivotal moment in cinematic history, where apocalyptic narratives are increasingly intertwined with social critique. Unlike conventional zombie films that focus predominantly on gore and survival tactics, this film ventures into a reflective exploration of humanity's enduring spirit amid chaos. Its narrative complexity, character depth, and socio-political commentary elevated beyond genre conventions, positioning it as a thought-provoking piece that examines not only survival but also collective identity and moral resilience. Narrative innovation, layered storytelling, and perspective. The film's storytelling ingenuity lies in its use of multiple perspectives and layered timelines. It juxtaposes personal histories with the unfolding global catastrophe, creating a mosaic of human experience. This approach fosters empathy, forcing viewers to consider how different backgrounds, be they socioeconomic, cultural, or psychological, shape responses to disaster. The narrative structure's nonlinearity also emphasizes the cyclical nature of crisis. Flashbacks reveal the origins of the outbreak, intertwining personal regrets and societal failures that precipitate the collapse. These narrative choices serve to critique how systemic neglect and human hubris accelerate such apocalyptic scenarios. Character complexity. Beyond stereotypes, Decade of the Dead distinguishes itself through its intricate characterizations. Lena Hart embodies scientific curiosity intertwined with moral conviction, but her journey is also about confronting her own limitations and biases. Her internal struggle reflects broader questions about the role of science and ethics during crisis. Marcus, the pragmatic leader, is depicted with nuance. His hardened exterior masks a deep sense of loss and a desire to protect what remains of human dignity. His moral ambiguity invites viewers to question the thin line between necessary brutality and ethical compromise. Supporting figures, such as a resilient teenager or an elderly survivor, serve as allegories for hope and tradition, respectively. Their interactions underscore themes of inheritance, legacy, and the importance of intergenerational bonds in rebuilding society. Thematic depth, moral ambiguity, and societal reflection. Decade of the Dead explores complex themes. Moral relativism. The film challenges black and white morality. Characters are often faced with impossible choices, sacrificing a few to save many, or compromising ethics for survival, prompting viewers to reflect on the relativity of morality in extreme circumstances. Community and isolation. The narrative examines how social bonds are strained or strengthened under duress. It questions whether individualism or collectivism offers a more sustainable path forward, ultimately suggesting that resilience is rooted in shared humanity. Environmental and political critique. The outbreak acts as a metaphor for ecological collapse and political instability, critiquing human neglect of environmental stewardship and governance. The undead symbolize the consequences of systemic failure, an allegory for societal neglect and environmental degradation. Artistic choices, visuals, sound, and atmosphere. The film's aesthetic choices reinforce its thematic ambitions. Visual style. A muted palette with bursts of color, such as vibrant red or green, symbolize danger, hope, or decay. Wide shots of devastated landscapes evoke a sense of scale and desolation, while intimate close-ups humanize characters' internal struggles. Cinematography. Dynamic camera work captures chaos and stillness effectively. Steady shots during moments of reflection contrast with shaky, frenetic movements in action scenes, immersing viewers in the characters' emotional states. Sound design. The soundtrack employs minimalistic score combined with environmental sounds, whispering wind, distant sirens, heartbeat, heightening tension and emphasizing isolation. Cultural resonance and contemporary relevance. Decade of the Dead resonates strongly with contemporary audiences, particularly in a world grappling with pandemic aftermaths, climate change, and political upheavals. Its portrayal of societal breakdown reflects collective fears of losing social cohesion and moral compass. Moreover, the film subtly advocates for social awareness, empowerment of marginalized voices. Characters from diverse backgrounds are portrayed as integral to the rebuilding process, emphasizing inclusivity and collective strength. Critical view of authority. Skepticism toward centralized power and reliance on grassroots initiatives reflect current debates about governance and community. Resilience. Eco-critical message. The outbreak's link to environmental neglect underscores urgent calls for sustainable practices and ecological responsibility. Artistic influences and genre evolution. Decade of the Dead synthesizes influences from a broad spectrum, ranging from George Romero's social commentaries to modern dystopian narratives. While forging its own path through innovative storytelling and thematic richness, It represents a maturation of the zombie genre, shifting focus from mere horror to a mirror reflecting societal vulnerabilities and strengths. This evolution signifies an increasing desire for genre films to serve as cultural commentaries, fostering dialogue around pressing global issues. Critical reception and future implications. While initial reviews highlight its ambitious scope, some critique its pacing or narrative complexity. Nonetheless, Decade of the Dead has sparked academic discussions on genre filmmaking as a vessel for social critique. Its influence may inspire future films to adopt more nuanced storytelling, emphasizing character development and thematic depth. It also underscores the potential of genre cinema to engage audiences emotionally and intellectually. Conclusion. A reflection of humanity's resilience. Decade of the Dead, 2023, is a testament to the resilience of human storytelling, capable of confronting darkness with hope, complexity, and insight. It challenges audiences to see beyond the horror, recognizing that even in the bleakest circumstances, compassion, morality, and community remain vital. As a cultural artifact, it encapsulates contemporary fears and aspirations, urging us to reflect on how we might rebuild and redefine humanity's future. The 2023 film Decade of the Dead offers a profound exploration of human resilience, societal collapse, and moral ambiguity set against the backdrop of a zombie-infested world. Unlike conventional entries in the genre that prioritize visceral horror and action, this film emphasizes character-driven storytelling, philosophical inquiry, and symbolic richness. Its decade-spanning narrative invites viewers to contemplate not only the survival of individuals, but also the endurance of societal values amid chaos. Narrative complexity and structural innovation. The film's storytelling structure is notably ambitious, weaving together multiple timelines and perspectives. It begins with the immediate aftermath of the outbreak, gradually progressing forward to depict the evolution of survivor communities over 10 years. This approach mirrors the real-world process of adaptation and decay, emphasizing that survival is not a static feat but a dynamic, ongoing struggle. Intertwined narratives serve to depict the multifaceted nature of humanity, showcasing cooperation, betrayal, hope, and despair, while reinforcing the notion that no single perspective holds all answers. This mosaic-like storytelling fosters empathy for diverse characters and underscores themes of collective endurance. Deep dive into character archetypes and motivations. The reluctant leader frowny-faced main character, initially driven by pragmatic survival instincts, emerges as a reluctant leader whose moral compass is tested repeatedly. Their arc explores the tension between utilitarian decision-making and ethical integrity, prompting reflection on leadership in crisis. The disillusioned scientist, a character representing scientific inquiry and skepticism, who grapples with the loss of faith in human progress. Their storyline emphasizes the clash between hope for salvation through knowledge and the harsh realities of a broken world. The child of hope, a young survivor, symbolizes innocence and future potential. Their interactions with older characters highlight themes of innocence lost and the possibility of renewal, emphasizing that hope is often found in the unlikeliest places. The human antagonists, factions vying for control over resources, epitomize human greed, power, and moral corruption. Their portrayal serves as a mirror to contemporary political and social conflicts, illustrating that the greatest threats often arise from within. Themes and underlying message is resilience of the human spirit. The film underscores that survival extends beyond physical endurance. Mental and emotional resilience are equally vital. Characters demonstrate adaptability, hope, and compassion, challenging nihilistic portrayals of post-apocalyptic worlds, moral ambiguity, and ethical dilemmas. Throughout their journey, characters confront choices that blur moral lines, sacrificing others for safety, choosing between personal morality and collective good. These dilemmas provoke viewers to consider what they would do in similar circumstances. Decay and renewal. Visual and narrative motifs underscore the cyclical nature of destruction and rebirth. Overgrown urban landscapes symbolize nature's reclaiming power, suggesting that life persists despite human hubris. Societal reflection. The film acts as a mirror to current societal vulnerabilities, climate change, political instability, resource depletion, prompting viewers to reflect on the fragility and resilience of civilization. Cinematic and artistic techniques. Visual aesthetics. A muted color palette dominated by earthy tones conveys decay and despair, while strategic use of vibrant colors. High Decade of the Dead ventures beyond conventional zombie fare, positioning itself as a reflective piece on contemporary society's vulnerabilities and moral complexity. It leverages the horror genre not merely for visceral thrills, but as a lens to examine existential questions, what it means to survive, to moralize, and to find hope amid chaos. Complex characterization in a post-apocalyptic world. Unlike typical zombie narratives that focus solely on survival, this film emphasizes psychological realism and layered character development. Each protagonist embodies specific ideological stances, shaped by their histories and beliefs, which in turn influence their decisions and relationships. Lena Hart's scientific morality. Her drive to discover a cure is not just scientific curiosity, but a moral imperative rooted in personal tragedy. Her internal struggle revolves around maintaining her humanity while facing dehumanization around her. Her scientific pursuits serve as a metaphor for hope, a belief that rationality and compassion can prevail. Marcus's survivalist pragmatism. Marcus's leadership is born out of necessity, but his methods raise ethical questions. His willingness to compromise morals for the sake of survival questions whether the ends truly justify the means. His character arc challenges viewers to consider the costs of authoritarianism in desperate times. Supporting figures and their archetypes. Characters like the young rebel, the pragmatic elder, or the betrayed friend highlight different facets of human resilience and moral ambiguity. Their interactions showcase how community, trust, and betrayal shape the fabric of society in collapse. Narrative mechanics and thematic depth. The film's nonlinear narrative technique is crucial for immersing viewers into the layered realities of the characters' pasts and their present struggles. Flashbacks serve as flashpoints for understanding motives, fueling empathy and moral questioning. Themes such as trust versus suspicion, hope versus despair, and individual morality versus collective survival are woven into the plot. The narrative structure underscores that survival is not just physical but also psychological and moral. Metaphors and hidden meanings. Decade of the Dead employs rich symbolism. The disease as a reflection of societal ills. The virus's rapid spread mimics the proliferation of misinformation, social division, and climate crisis. Its uncontrollable nature symbolizes the fragility of societal structures when faced with systemic failure. Decay as a reflection of morality. The physical decay of the world parallels the erosion of social and ethical boundaries. The zombies, relentless and insatiable, symbolize unchecked greed, hatred, or indifference. Hope as a flickering flame. Moments when characters cling to hope, whether through acts of kindness, sacrifice, or scientific discovery, serve as visual and narrative anchors, emphasizing resilience's fragile yet vital role. Cultural and political underpinnings. In the context of 2023, Decade of the Dead resonates as a social commentary on governance and authority. The film critiques reliance on centralized power, illustrating how authoritarian figures may exploit chaos for personal gain or impose harsh measures that strip away moral agency. Reflections on public health and misinformation. The outbreak's origins and cover-ups echo real-world issues with pandemic responses, highlighting the importance of transparency, trust in science, and community-led initiatives. Addressing social inequities. The film subtly underscores disparities in access to resources and safety, echoing ongoing dialogues about inequality during crises. Visual and sound design as narrative devices. The cinematography employs a stark, often desolate palette to evoke despair but uses contrasting lighting to symbolize hope or danger, bright flashes during moments of revelation, darkness during moral dilemmas. Sound design amplifies tension and emotional beats. Silence as a tool to heighten dread, or visceral noises during zombie encounters, enhancing immersion and emphasizing the visceral reality of the apocalypse. Influences and stylistic choices. The director draws inspiration from classic genre films but innovates with contemporary storytelling techniques. Interplay of practical effects and modern CGI. The emphasis on practical effects grounds the horror in tangible reality, while selective CGI enhances the grotesque or chaotic elements without overwhelming the narrative. Narrative pacing and tension building. The film balances rapid action with contemplative quiet, mirroring the unpredictable rhythm of crisis management and emotional resilience. Cinematic homages. References to iconic horror sequences serve as homage and critique, recontextualized within the film's thematic framework. Audience reception and cultural discourse. Decade of the Dead has sparked widespread debate. Critics praise its moral complexity and social relevance, viewing it as a modern allegory for societal vulnerabilities. Some audiences find the narrative challenging due to its nonlinear structure, but this complexity invites engagement and multiple viewings. The film's reflection of contemporary fears and hopes positions it as a significant cultural artifact, one that prompts viewers to consider their roles in societal resilience and moral responsibility. Conclusion: a reflection of humanity's duality. Decade of the Dead, 2023, transcends traditional horror by probing the depths of human morality, societal fragility, and hope's tenacity. Its layered narrative, complex characters, and symbolic richness make it a thought-provoking piece that continues to resonate long after the credits roll. It challenges audiences to reflect on what it truly means to survive, not just physically but morally and emotionally, in a world teetering on the brink of collapse. Decade of the Dead, 2023, distinguishes itself within the zombie genre by emphasizing human stories amid chaos rather than solely focusing on horror and action. Its narrative complexity and thematic depth invite viewers to contemplate not only survival, but also the meaning of humanity in the face of relentless adversity. Narrative architecture, interwoven timelines, and perspectives. The film employs a nonlinear storytelling approach, weaving together multiple timelines and perspectives to craft a mosaic of survival stories. This structure serves several purposes. Temporal depth, showing the gradual deterioration of society over 10 years, allows viewers to witness the long-term consequences of initial outbreaks and societal collapse. Multiple viewpoints. By presenting different characters and factions, the film underscores the diversity of human responses, ranging from altruism to selfishness, highlighting the multifaceted nature of morality. This layered construction challenges the audience to piece together the narrative, fostering engagement with each character's unique journey. Character complexity. Beyond archetypes, Decade of the Dead features characters with nuanced motivations, avoiding stereotypical portrayals. The reluctant leader, a former scientist grappling with guilt over failed experiments that may have contributed to the outbreak, representing themes of accountability and redemption. The protector, a parent figure whose primary drive is safeguarding vulnerable survivors, embodying maternal instinct and resilience. The survivor cynic, a hardened individual skeptical of hope, whose arc explores the tension between despair and the possibility of renewal. These characters are portrayed with psychological depth, illustrating how prolonged exposure to trauma reshapes identities and moral compasses. Themes, philosophical underpinnings, and ethical dilemmas. Decade of the Dead delves into profound philosophical questions. What defines humanity? The film examines whether compassion, empathy, and moral choices persist in extreme circumstances, or if survival instinct erodes these qualities. The cost of survival. Characters often face morally ambiguous decisions, such as sacrificing others for safety or compromising personal ethics, prompting viewers to ponder the boundaries of morality. Hope as resistance. Despite bleakness, the film suggests that hope and communal bonds are acts of rebellion against nihilism, emphasizing resilience as a form of defiance. Visual and auditory aesthetics. Crafting atmosphere. The director's visual choices reinforce thematic elements. Decaying environments, overgrown urban landscapes symbolize nature reclaiming human domains, illustrating impermanence. Lighting and color. Use of stark contrasts, harsh shadows juxtaposed with moments of warmth, depicts the ongoing struggle between despair and hope. Soundscapes, ambient sounds, distant sirens, rustling leaves, create an immersive atmosphere that underscores the persistent presence of danger and the passage of time. Symbolism and hidden messages. The overgrowth represents both decay and the potential for rebirth, suggesting that life persists even after destruction. Broken technology symbolizes lost knowledge and the fragility of civilization, raising questions about reliance on technological advancements. The decade marker implies that endurance and adaptation are essential virtues, with survival being a prolonged process rather than a quick fix. Cultural reflection, mirror to contemporary society. The film's portrayal of resource scarcity, societal breakdown, and factional conflicts echoes current global issues. Environmental collapse, overrun cities, and abandoned infrastructure serve as allegories for ecological neglect. Political fragmentation, factions vying for control mirror real-world geopolitical tensions. Social inequality, marginalized groups often find resilience, reflecting ongoing conversations about inclusion and justice. Interpretive layers, beyond the surface. Decade of The Dead invites multiple interpretations. Existential reflection. The prolonged timeline encourages